Hello, college football fans, and welcome to our last show of the year. Yes, this is the last show of the year. We're down to picking the final four that will make it into the playoffs. But we have a great show, and hopefully, you guys will join us and tell us your picks. Um, we have already Troy and Matthew here. Last week, the winner was a tie between Matthew and um, what's his name? I already forgot his name. Starts with a D. Donald. Donald and Matthew were the winners. They picked a perfect score, 5 out of 5. So Troy says he's swinging hard today. He's swinging for the fences. And as always, we have our college football enthusiast here with us. Let's see if he's ready. Cheers, everyone. Four Leaf Whiskey. Cheers. Cheers to you. Hope you're ready with all your goodies to watch a great game of football. All right, here we go. How are you today?
Doing good, ready to go.
All right, your video is a little grainy, but we will deal with that. That means it's probably a little dark there where you're at. Oh, that's looking a little bit better. There you go.
Okay, I turned up the light a little bit.
Okay. So, like I said, we're gonna go through the games. There's four important games today. Yesterday, Washington beat Oregon. If you guys didn't see that game, uh, see it and see the highlights or see the whole game. The game was amazing.
Yeah, great game. It lived up to it.
Yes, exactly. So this is now twice in a row that Washington beats Oregon, and both games were by, like 3 points or less. They were very close, very close. So the first game today is gonna be, I think, at Texas
Against
against
Oklahoma
Oklahoma
State.
State. So what do we have for that? What are you thinking there?
So, so Texas is the better team. We all know that. Not Oregon. Oklahoma State. A lot of people wanted Oklahoma to make it, but Oklahoma State made it instead of them. And they have a really good running back, Oklahoma State, but Texas is one of the best run defense teams. So the only thing that Oklahoma State has going for them, Texas is an expert at. And Texas, they're just a very balanced team. They have great quarterback, great receivers, good running backs. Even though they're good, like their star running back got hurt, they still have good backup running backs. They have a great defense. So I'm gonna pick Texas. I think they're a 15-point favorite, and there's a chance they beat them by even more. So
Yeah, you know what I don't understand with Oklahoma State is how they lost to University of Central Florida. What was it, 45-3 or something like
yeah,
that? What
that's
in the
just
world?
crazy.
I mean, I can't see a team, you know, being consistent when you lose like that. I mean, not even a touchdown, only 3 points. That's just ridiculous. All right,
Yeah.
so you're picking Texas for this one. All right, I'm picking Texas for this one. I see that Matthew is picking Texas. Troy is picking Texas. And you know who we're missing here today? We're missing Boris. I hope he's doing
Boris.
okay. He's usually here at all times, so I'm a little concerned. Definitely put him in your prayers. All right, Four Leaf Whiskey, are you gonna play with us today? He's rooting for Iowa, so I'm gonna put you in here. If you have a pick, you say Washington is legit, and that's for sure. They probably most likely we'll talk about this later, but they'll probably play Michigan for their first game in the playoffs. The way things are looking right now,
Well, it depends how everyone else does.
yeah,
We'll
yeah, we'll
see.
talk that at the end. So at the end, what we're gonna do is everybody pick is gonna pick the four teams that you think are gonna make it into the playoffs, and we'll use that as a tiebreaker if everybody gets the four games correctly. So, all right, all
All
right,
right.
Four Leaf is
So,
going with Texas. All right, so the second game of the day.
oh, what a surprise! The next game I thought it would be at 3:30, but no, it's at 4 Eastern time. Georgia plays Alabama, and that's probably the game most people are looking forward to. And according to ticket prices, the last game we went over, um, Texas and Oklahoma State, the lowest ticket was $51. The lowest ticket for Georgia versus Alabama is $411. So that tells
Wow,
you that this is the game that
that's
people
crazy.
are looking forward to. And I really think, I mean, out of all the other games, this there's a chance that both of these teams could both make it, but I really think this is an elimination game. It's its own separate playoff game, just like how Ohio State and Michigan was a playoff game last week. This is also a playoff game, and they're gonna eliminate each other. And even Georgia, who's been perfect all year, I think if they lose, they have a very good shot of not making it. So I think I think Georgia's gonna win. I mean, if they
Okay.
lose to Alabama, I know Alabama's has improved and they're a good team now, but kind of embarrassing on the coach to keep losing to Alabama in the SEC championship. Even though Alabama is they've gotten a lot better. They're a good team. Strength wise, I'd probably have them as a top team, but resume wise, I mean, I don't know. Anyways, that's a conversation for later. I'm gonna pick Georgia. I think Georgia's gonna win. It's really close. The spread is only Georgia by 4.5, but I'm gonna pick Georgia.
All right. Well, we have a four-leaf whiskey. He agrees with you. He's picking Georgia. Um, Wait a second. So Matthew, you got to make a pick. I know you want Bama, but you got to make a pick here. Troy is picking Bama. This is going to be a close game, but let me tell you what I think is going to be the difference. And of course I could be wrong, but I think that they're even on both sides. I think the difference is going to be that Georgia's defense is a little better than Alabama. And if Kirby Smart is smart enough to know that this quarterback of Alabama, he's not good at the short passes. He's only good at the long passes, meaning that he covers that and he makes it either run or short pass. I think that is going to make Alabama a little one dimensional, and Georgia could dominate in that sense, and then Alabama is going to have a hard time scoring. So I think they're very close. I think Georgia is better in defense. Just my opinion. So I'm gonna give Georgia the edge on this one. And so we still have Matthew. So who are you picking there? Picking and piping. All right, give me your pick. You say you want Bama. Not sure who will win though. Probably Georgia. I Texas will neither Bama or Georgia make the Final Four. Yeah, I agree with you, and that's what we're gonna talk about the end. All the scenarios that could happen, and then we'll get your guys' input and who you think deserves it if this guy wins or the other one wins. So, all right, Oh, Matthew picks Georgia. Okay, wow. All right, he wants to keep his winning streak, but anybody can win this game. Yeah, to be honest, anybody can win. All right, next game.
Next game, since it's you want it to only stick to the playoff games, right? Because there's a conference championship game that's between two pretty good teams.
I don't care about it. Who if it doesn't have to do with
But
the
it's college
playoffs,
football. With college football, all games matter.
we'll talk about it. But we're not picking. Go ahead. Who you
Okay,
want to talk about?
this is a very underrated game. I know tickets are as low as $10, but SMU 10-2 versus number 22 Tulane 11-1. They're both undefeated in their conference, and that's gonna be a really good game. I've seen both teams play, and they're good. So if I mean, it's gonna go on at the same time as Alabama Georgia. So I'm not saying to watch
Nobody's
that
gonna
over that,
watch it.
but
That's the thing. But I'm picking Tulane on that one. I watched them. They're a great team actually. So that will be my pick. Tulane
yeah, and
against SMU.
Tulane's only loss it was against Ole Miss, and they didn't have their starting quarterback, and they still almost beat Ole Miss. So they should really be undefeated. That's. I feel bad for Tulane, but yeah, I think that's gonna be a good game. I probably won't be able to watch it because of Alabama Georgia, but
All right. Well,
Respect to
people
Tulane.
people are picking on it. So Four Leaf is picking SMU. I'm picking Tulane. Matthew's picking Tulane. So I guess we'll have 5 games. Troy's picking Tulane. Who
Hmm.
you picking there?
I'll pick Tulane.
All right, you're picking Tulane. So the only SMU person is Four Leaf. Four Leaf, you got a chance to beat us all here on this one, for sure. All right, next game.
All right, the next game is at 8. It is number 2 Michigan at number 16 Iowa. Iowa has been historic for all the wrong reasons. Their offense has been just horrendous, and it's crazy. Michigan's favored by 22, but the over under for the whole game is 35 and a half. That's insane. That's like you don't see that. So that kind of sums that up. Iowa has a great defense. If Iowa has wants to have a chance, they have to do like pick sixes and fumble recoveries and special teams touchdowns because their offense is that bad. Like it's really it's just embarrassing. And Michigan's just a better team. Michigan's gonna win. And this is the reason. This is the reason why the Big Ten's getting rid of divisions next year because this is ridiculous. The Big Ten West hasn't won in like 10 plus years because of this. They suck. So yeah.
All right. Well, Four Leaf Whiskey is picking Iowa. Let me tell you, Iowa has a great defense. They have a chance to win. The problem is they need to find an offense, and I'm sure that will be the biggest upset today if Iowa can pull
Yeah.
it off. Everything's possible. A lot of people want Michigan to lose, obviously, because they've been cheating and doing all that stuff. So I think they have definitely a lot of people that's rooting against them for sure. That will definitely flip the scenario of the playoffs, and definitely if Michigan loses, that could be a way for Ohio State to get in there. So that will make it
Mm,
interesting for sure.
no, I mean we'll go over the scenarios later, but yeah, I'll touch on that later.
All right,
But
so
go ahead.
Troy says Iowa will be awesome, but of course he picked Michigan. Everybody's picking Michigan except for Leaf. All right, and last game.
Last game, I would argue, is actually the most important. I know Alabama, Georgia is the most anticipated, but number 14 Louisville versus number 4 Florida State is the most important. Florida State is undefeated, and if they don't lose, then nothing really changes. Like for the other games, like they are what's gonna prevent people like Texas going in if they win. People like Alabama going if they win. People like Ohio State even having a chance. So a lot of people in across the United States or whoever's watching college football is going for Louisville because a lot of people don't believe that Florida State is a good enough team, even though they are undefeated. And I'm gonna pick Louisville because they're. I've heard that Florida State. I mean, everyone knows that the quarterback went down, but their second string quarterback. I don't know if they declared him out, but he was questionable. He was questionable for this game, so their second string, who already wasn't that good, because I saw him against the Gators, and he's definitely not the reason they beat us. And he's already not good. And if he doesn't play, they're gonna have their third string. So I don't know. I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna root for Louisville, obviously, but I'm also gonna pick Louisville because Louisville. I mean, they're good. They're a good team. I know they got upset last week, but they're a good team.
I think it's going to be a shootout on these two teams, and I'm also picking Louisville. I think because if FSU had their quarterback, I would have picked them, but now
Oh
they
yeah,
have to
same
go down
here. But
down to the third string quarterback. That's tough. Actually, I've had FSU going all the way. Lady Fire had FSU going all the way, and with their starting quarterback, I think they would have been a really really tough team to beat in the playoffs. But now going down to the third string quarterback, it's just a different scenario. So I gotta pick Louisville on this one. Troy's going with FSU. Um, Picking and Piping is picking also Louisville. And let's see, Four Leaf Whiskey. Who you got? FSU. All right. So we're divided down the middle on this one. All right, guys. So for the tiebreaker, let's pick. You guys are going to tell me which four teams you think are going to make the playoffs. Doesn't matter. Um, Whatever the scenarios happen. What do you guys think? So let's talk about the different scenarios. Washington won last week. I mean, last week, yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm picking Washington. I think that would be crazy for the committee to leave him out.
No,
Uh,
they're definitely in
they're
100%.
they're
They're
undefeated.
undefeated. They
So
beat a good Oregon team. They won a conference championship. There's no excuse for them not to go in. So they're definitely in. I agree
now,
with
whether they're
that.
gonna put him one or two or three or four, I don't know. That's up to them. That could go either way. Depends on what happens with the other teams. So let's start with one of the you know most the team that's number one, Georgia. So obviously, if they win, they're in. Um, if they lose, that's when things get a little tricky because we're going to have a lot of teams with one loss. The scenario would have been crazier if Oregon would have beat Washington because you would have had two more teams with one loss. That did not happen.
Yeah.
So now this Georgia and Alabama thing could get tricky because if they're both, one loss teams, then we have to see what happens with, of course, Michigan and FSU. If FSU wins, I think that they have the upper hand on getting picked. But you never know what this committee is going to do. They could say, well, if Alabama beats Georgia, they deserve to be in there. And they could feel that Alabama is a better team than FSU since FSU has a backup quarterback. So that could happen. And then there's also Ohio State, waiting. Right now, they're actually ranked above some of these other teams, meaning that, if Texas loses, uh, and they're ranked above Texas right now. That's what makes it crazy. Right now, we have Ohio State ranked by them um, as number 6. So they have them ranked above Texas and above Alabama, meaning that if those teams don't do well, they could choose Ohio State to get in there instead of those teams, especially if
Yeah.
both Texas and Alabama lose. So that's a chance for Ohio State to get in there without even playing. So that's another scenario for you guys. And then the last one is obviously Michigan. If they win, they're in there. If they lose, they're probably going to be out. I think so. All right. So tell me who you think is going to be your four teams there, college football enthusiasts, and everybody else. Give me your picks.
So my top teams are number 1 Georgia, number 2 Michigan, number 3 Washington, and number 4 Texas.
All right. So you think Georgia's going to make it? Then you say Michigan,
Michigan.
Washington, and Texas. All
Yeah.
right.
So what I think I know Ohio State is ranked above Texas and Alabama, but it's really hard for Texas to make it. For Texas, I mean, for Ohio State to make it, not yeah, that's what I meant. It's gonna be really hard for Ohio State to make it. For Ohio State to make it, Georgia needs to win, Michigan needs to win, Washington won, and that actually helps them. And then Florida State needs to lose, Texas needs to lose, and Alabama needs to lose, but Georgia will beat them if I like in this scenario. So Ohio State needs a lot of help because even though Texas is below them, if Texas has the same amount of losses as them and a conference championship, I think that they'll pass Ohio State because it wouldn't be fair. Like Ohio State sat at home in the couch and Texas played for a championship game where they could have risked another loss. So, and I
Okay.
think for Texas, I think that all they need really is Florida State to lose, and they just need a win, and I think that's what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna go Texas.
Yeah. So here we have Troy saying that game day said that it's going to be Bama, Georgia, Texas, and Washington. That will make me so upset. You just don't know because that would be unfair. I mean, I guess they're. I mean, unless they're thinking, of course, Michigan loses, and that scenario could happen. But
Yeah, I don't see a world where Michigan loses. That would be just insane. And if Michigan loses, they're not gonna be in. Even if they have one loss, they already have so much controversy that I feel like they're looking for any reason to exclude Michigan, and they'll have their reasons. So
exactly. So for all right, Blake. Welcome, Blake. Welcome to the podcast here. Um, so anyway, we're picking what four teams you guys think are gonna make it to the playoffs. And Boris, you came in late, so Boris, you can make your picks of the Texas, Georgia, Tulane, Michigan, and Louisville game. Just give me your picks real quick, and I'll put you in here. Last week, the winners were Donald and Matthew. They're the ones who got 5 out of 5. So, all right. So my turn. I agree with both Boris and the college football enthusiasts here. I think that those are the four teams I think are going to be in there: Washington, Georgia, Michigan, and Texas. I think Texas wins their game, Georgia wins their game, Michigan wins their game, and according to how they have them ranked right now, that's how the committee is going to put them. Obviously, they have to say Texas has to jump Ohio State, and so actually Texas has to win good, because even though you guys may not like this, but if Texas barely wins, they will put Ohio State in there if FSU loses. I know you guys don't agree, but that's what's going to happen, because right now they have Ohio State above Texas, so they're looking to that Texas game. If Texas looks weak, they will put Ohio State, and it's going to happen like other years where a team does not play for the championship game and they still get in there, which
yeah,
I
that's
don't
what happened
agree.
last year for Ohio State.
I don't agree, but that's what happens. So, all right. So here you go. Boris made his picks. He picked Texas, Georgia, Louisville, Tulane, and Michigan. All right, good picks there, Boris. All right. Anybody else picking there? Matthew, who you think are going to be the four teams in the playoffs, Matthew? I don't have your picks. Who you think is going to make the playoffs there? Oh, there you go. You have it. You have it. Georgia, Michigan, and okay. So you're agreeing with us. All right. And Texas. How about Troy? Did you take your picks? You said what the game day said, but Troy, have you made your picks? And for Leaf, have you made your picks of who you think are the four teams? Just write the four teams. Oh, there you go. You did too. You said Washington, Georgia, FSU, and Michigan. Okay. Washington, Georgia. So you think FSU is going to win their game. All right. I think if they win, they deserve to be there for sure. So, especially, winning with the third string quarterback. Hey,
Yeah, I know. A lot of people are saying that, and obviously I'm a Gator fan, so I have to root against Florida State. But if Florida State, if they win, they do deserve to go there. They're undefeated, and it's not fair to rob them of a spot because their quarterback got hurt. Like, it's a team game. I know their quarterback helped a lot, and they're definitely a better team with him there. But I mean, if they finish 13-0 with a conference championship, you can't exclude them. Like, that's just not fair, you know.
yeah. So Lurker Troy is actually picking. He's one of the ones that's picking the most different. He's picking FSU to be there, Michigan, Washington, and Bama. Um,
Hmm.
let's see who does that leave out. That will leave out Texas. Yeah, it could
And
happen.
Georgia.
Well, if he's picking Bama, it's because Georgia, beats. I mean, Bama beats
Yeah,
Georgia.
I know, but
I think if Bama beats Georgia, Georgia's not gonna go in. I think they don't deserve it. I mean, if they
I
lose
don't think they
the
deserve it. But they'll probably. I think they'll still put them in. Honestly, I think Georgia's one of the safest teams. I don't know. They shouldn't, but I feel like Georgia's been number one all year, so they would just like move them. After all this time, I don't know.
All right.
Not saying I do agree with it. I'm just saying what based on what they've done.
Thank you, Dave. Dave Guitar Channel says that he enjoys our content. Keep up the great work. Appreciate it, Dave. Thank you very much. Um, Later on today, for all your pipe guys, I'm gonna hope to be in the country square. I'm right here in Jackson, Mississippi, and they have a Jackson pipe night tonight with pizza, and so I hope to be there. Maybe I'll be live. Maybe I'll just record a little bit. I don't know, but I'll definitely be there. So if any of you are close to this area, um, drop by the country square tonight. The activities from 4 to 8 Central Time here in the country square. All right. If you lose late, you don't play. Yeah, and that could be um that's the case. Unfortunately, you can lose at the beginning of the year, and it's not as important. Although the committee has kept Alabama, kind of down there because they lost their first game of the year, which is really unusual. I've never seen that
Yeah,
before.
it's usually not like that, but I
Yeah,
mean, they've had a lot of close calls this year. They've definitely gotten better as a team as the years gone by, but against Auburn, they should have lost. They had a couple scares there. They almost lost to Texas A&M, almost lost to Arkansas. So yeah, it's not like they've been blowing people out of the water. I mean, they've blown out some teams, but not really good teams. So
yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely play the lottery there, Blake. I'm gonna try to play it as soon as I get to Florida. Because then I have to go cash it in Florida. So yeah, Boris. Yeah, they always say that it's the 4 teams that they feel are the best teams, and I agree with that. But at the same time, if a team loses like a conference championship, it's kind of unfair to put them because it's to me it's almost like an elimination, So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely, guys. Today is the day to watch these games. They're going to be exciting. And if some of the crazy scenarios happens, then watch out because they're going to have a tough time. They will pick out the 4 teams tomorrow at around noontime Eastern time, so you don't have to wait too long. Tomorrow around noon, they'll announce who are the 4 teams that are going to go to the playoffs. So
yeah, I feel like the committee's worst nightmare is if Texas wins by a lot, Alabama beats Georgia, and Florida State wins. That's like awful for them because then they don't know what to do.
exactly. Yeah. They're hoping that some of the teams that are already in there undefeated stay undefeated because I think that's going to be an easier pick for them. But if we have a bunch of one-loss teams, that's going to be a mess. That's going to be a mess. Yeah. So, all right. So that's it. Now let's one final thing. Let's since this is going to be the last show of the year, everybody pick who you think is going to be the national champion this year. So the last pick is going to be who you guys think is going to be the national champion. All right.
Michigan.
Oh, you're picking Michigan. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. All right. Who else? Go ahead and say who do you think is going to be the national champion this year? All right. We have Sonic Cologne picking the Georgia Bulldogs. All right. Georgia. All right. Iowa. Iowa. Piper says Iowa. If I haven't said hi to you, hello. Piper said Iowa. They have a big road ahead of them. But if
They
they
have
beat,
like the odds of them winning the championship is like plus like 100,000, I think.
yeah, yeah, that would be a good bet to make for sure because they will have to win this game, and obviously the committee has to select them, and then on top of
A
that,
lot of stuff has to happen for
beat
Iowa to
everybody.
go in.
Yeah, Ohio. Yeah, they're available. Blake, Ohio. That's your pick. Blake picks Ohio. There's a scenario where they get in there. So, uh,
Yep, but for Ohio State to get in,
Lurker Troy says
Texas.
FSU. again, if they had their starting quarterback, they would have been my pick for sure. Um, Army versus Navy next Saturday. Yeah, go Navy, go
Oh
Navy.
yeah, I can't forget about that.
I'm a Navy guy, so go Navy. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead. I know there's been controversy, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick Michigan. I think that they end up winning the whole thing, even with all the controversy and all that mess. Boris, oh Boris Washington, that'd be great. That'd be great if Washington wins. I will be extremely happy if Washington wins. That'd be awesome. Blake believes in magic. All right, Matthew, did you pick who you think is gonna win the whole thing? Are you still here, Matthew? Uh, nope, you haven't picked there. Matthew and Four Leaf are the ones left. You two, who do you think is gonna win the whole thing and be the national champions? All right, give you feel a little bit more, and if you had to leave for a little bit, you can put your pick in the comment section below, and and it counts. And actually, anybody that sees this later, go ahead and make your picks and put them on the section below, and we'll, for bragging rights, we'll announce who the winner was. Troy says that Washington will get screwed somehow. Hey, they just keep winning close games, so that's the thing with them. All right, Matthew says Michigan will win the whole thing, and Four Leaf, you are the last one. I don't know. I have a feeling that you said you thought Michigan was going to win everything, but I could be wrong. But anyway, tell me later who do you think um, wins the whole thing. All right. Well, college. Yeah, this going to be the last one, Blake, because there's going to be next week. We only have one game. Then it's going to be a bunch of nothings
Scattered
for a
bowl
while,
games. Yeah.
and then next year it's going to be the bowl game. The bowl game. So for sure, the last one this year. I don't know if we'll get on next year at the beginning and do something, but this might be it. And he just picked the Bulldogs to win. Of course, so just put the hat of the
Oh
Bulldogs to
yeah.
beat Alabama. There you go. Oh boy, great game, guys. You got to watch the games today. Yeah, Blake. Sorry, I know. All right, guys. Well, like I said, put your picks on the comments below if we're off before you get your picks in. Hope you guys have a great Saturday. And like I said, if anybody's around here, I should be at the Country Square later this afternoon. So comment. You see me, come in and say hi. All right. Is that it? Anything else you got there, college football enthusiast?
I think that about covers it.
All right. Well, I'm going to say bye to everybody. Thank you for being during the college football season with us and making this show fun for us. I hope you guys enjoyed it and looked forward every Saturday to doing this with us. And if nothing else, we'll see you again next year. We'll do it again. All right.
Yep, this was fun.
Bye, guys.
Bye everyone.